What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here, Unsleeved Media. A lot of you have been clamoring to get my take on the new Richard Garfield game, Keyforge. Well, this game recently came out. It's produced by Fantasy Flight Games and designed by the man, the myth, the legend, Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic the Gathering. A lot of people see this as a way out, a way off the hamster wheel in Magic the Gathering. Now, there are a couple different ways you can purchase the game. I purchased both, basically, I guess what you would call their starter set, which comes with one of the Radiant Argus, the Supreme deck, one Miss Onyx Censorious deck, two unique Archeon decks, which are like basically $10 booster packs. I'm going to get into that in a minute. You've got 6 key tokens, and then you've got your Ember tokens, damage tokens, power status cards, all the stuff you kind of need to play. Many of these things will be produced by the secondary market, and you'll be able to get upgraded versions of them, more interesting versions of them down the road should this game take off. Now, this was $40 at my local game store, and these were, I think, $10 each at my local game store. Now, if you buy them in bulk, if you were to buy their version of a booster box, I've seen them as low as like $8 when you buy, I think it's 12 at a time, but we're going to get into that in a second. I'm going to actually unbox this. A good old-fashioned unboxing. In fact, I was feeling pretty spicy at the local game store this week, and I got a bunch of stuff to unbox this week. Got some Pokemon stuff over there. Got Keyforge. Now, I know this is like a really small thing. I don't know if this happened to you or your area, but for Fantasy Flight Games, this is a pretty sloppy shrink wrap job. I know it's like, but I honestly picked up one or two. I was like, oh, is this resealed? But I don't know. I know that's an obvious, huge nitpick, and it's ultimately irrelevant. But it's just something that you notice and that you don't expect from Fantasy Flight Games. And Fantasy Flight Games has the license to some of the most popular games out there, but they also are not without their own problems. The fulfillment and distribution that goes through Fantasy Flight Games is often an issue. Getting the product out in time and filling orders. So let's actually go to the overhead camera here. And we're going to take the top off. And then let's see what we got going on. So first you're going to have your Fantasy Flight sales guide. Of course, they want you to buy all of their other games. And like I said, they have a lot. You may notice them with their Star Wars Armada. They have a Fallout board game series. They've got Imperial Assault Star Wars, very popular. You got the Star Wars Destiny set. To say Fantasy Flight prints money, it would be probably an understatement. And then you also get your quick start guide, how to play. I find that a quick online tutorial is always easier for me, but that's just how I learn. But, you know, basically you forge a key, then you choose a house, then you play, discard, and use one card, then you ready the cards, and in step 5, you draw cards. So overall, pretty simple, pretty fast. What's interesting about this is it's a deck game. So essentially, the deck you open, the deck you have cannot be altered. You're not using a lot of... You're not really changing anything. It's a pre-constructed deck with literally thousands of options. Hilariously, there were some ones that ended up with naughty names in them, and they had to be recalled. So basically... inside here, you have 350 cards in this set, in the initial Keyforge pool. So I guess Call of the Archons is basically their alpha if you played Magic the Gathering. And inside that, you will discover a new and singular mix of cards, tactics, and strategic potential. So instead of like Magic the Gathering selling booster packs and letting you build decks, they essentially sell pre-constructed decks. A way to get, I guess, $10 booster packs. They're just giving you a whole deck to play with. And then inside here, you also have all of the little tokens that you would need, similar to Pokemon. So inside here, you have these. And then you have 2 random decks. So basically, like 2 booster packs. In fact, let me give us a little more room here, huh? So... what is in each one of these decks? Well, who knows? Let's find out. The interesting thing, the scary thing, though, is that these decks, a lot of people initially thought, well, this is great. there's not going to be a crazy meta. It's going to be really balanced. Well, it didn't work out that way. There are already decks pre-constructed. The 4 Horseman decks that sell for over $100. And each deck also has a scannable card. So we have Cassius of Magnatus here. Now, the ones with the 4 Horsemen, it's a very powerful card. And those are the boxes. Now, there are different variants that have the 4 Horsemen. So there's some that are like $130, some are $70. Well, I didn't get any of the racy names. Pusillamia, Metropolis Ender. Oh, but I got a 4 Horseman deck, boy! Here we go. We have Horseman of Death, Horseman of Famine, Horseman of Pestilence, Horseman of War. Now, this is a well sought off deck, but now it's going to matter. The other rares and other cards in the set will set off the price of it, but I'm willing to bet that this deck, has some value. One of the concerns I have with the game is that you're going to force people to chase decks. So essentially, you're going to be buying decks that are completely useless until you get the deck you want, or you're going to pay the secondary market value, which is probably what I would recommend, at least if you're the type of person that's looking to play competitive Magic, or competitive Keyforge, I'm sorry, and you have a deck in mind that you want. You don't want to chase down these $50 or $50 decks if you can just buy them. Here you have your 2 decks inside. Now so the 2 boosters, basically, I'm going to call them, the 2 we already opened, came in there. And then you also have, I'm assuming they're together in this one. And look, if you're not going to be, here's the thing, if you're not going to be a hyper-competitive player, all right, if you just want to play Keyforge, you want something to, like, take a little break from, let's say, Magic or Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh!, the game is absolutely fine for that. I think for $40, I mean, that's the price of a fat pack in Magic the Gathering, or a bundle these days, and you can't get 2 decks out of that. So you're going to get 2 decks to play in here, plus 2 random decks, if I'm understanding that correctly. I think I am. Yeah, and then here we have Miss Onyx. These are the same. These 2, I think, are the same for everybody. This deck here, and where's the title card for this deck? This is still Miss Onyx. So these all say Miss Onyx. Okay. Oh, there we go. So this is Miss Onyx. And this should be Radiant Argent Supreme, right? Yeah. There you go. Interesting that... Oh, this is the deck list. I'm like, why are they on the... Okay, so these are your standard sized cards. You can sleeve them up and do as you please. And you could play it right out of the box. You have everything you need in here. You have your tokens. And all of a sudden... and also, like I said, the 2 random decks, which I like right now because you have thousands of alternatives. Let's see what's in these other 2 I actually got. Here's the other one I got. Mudshank Adj Kudavi Tavern Keep. I wonder if they just use like a random name generated. I'm covering up the scanner. There's an app that you can scan your decks into. They just had the opening day, like the game day event on Saturday, I believe. I could not attend, but I did pick up the game Friday night. Let's see what's in our other one. The Elder of Gusterer. I don't see any Horsemen in here, but again, as people figure out the meta, there will be superior decks. I'm just certain of that. So be careful about, if you want to be hyper competitive with this game. Let me just show you. Okay, so if we go over here, I pulled up a few of these. Here's the Keyforge Rare 4 Horseman deck. Mars Sanctum Shadows. Sealed. $139. Here's one. $400. Keyforge. Double 4 Horseman deck. So I see you've got 4 Horsemen, 4 Horsemen, 4 Horsemen. Oh, yeah. So you got 8 Horsemen in this deck. Horseman, 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 Horseman. Yeah. So the double 4 Horsemen is $400. It's basically a double rainbow, I would assume. And, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, wow. So this deck is just full of a very powerful card. Now, I did some reading here because I was like, what's the deal? What is the deal with the 4 Horsemen deck? And some people said, look, it loses like any other deck, but for whatever reason, there are people in demand. The deck itself is in demand. I would say Keyforge as a game for $40. And if you like trading card games, this is a ultra low risk buy. I mean, for the price of a fat pack or a bundle from Pokemon or Magic or whatever, you don't get the complete game. You could just play the 2 decks you have, and hopefully they're balanced. You could play them a perpetuity if you want, ready to go out of the box. I would caution you strongly at chasing buying these essentially $10 booster packs. Get the 2 you have and the other 2 your game and see if you like it. Don't go crazy buying booster boxes and booster boxes of it, especially because, one, we don't know what the overall demand is going to be in 6 months, which means we could see the market completely crash, which, quite honestly, Richard Garfield or not, is the most likely scenario for any new trading card game. Now, this, for example, they'll say it's not a trading card game, but it sure acts like one, given the secondary market. So we don't know where things are going to level off, so don't overinvest buying a bunch of these. It's just not the same thing as it was. It's not like Alpha and Magic the Gathering where these cards are going to be worth a fortune. They're going to print these to oblivion. I wouldn't be speccing on any of these because, again, we don't know if the game's going to take off. If you want to get yourself a couple decks, the 2 that come with it, and pick up 2 or 3 more, fine. You spend $60. I spent $60 for the Keyforge Call of the Archons and 2 extra decks, so I ended up with 4 total random decks and the 2 that came included for the price of a video game. Will I get 100 hours of entertainment out of it? It's hard to say, but I won't get 100 hours out of every video game I buy either. So I'd say if you're looking for something new to try, there's really no reason not to try Keyforge, but proceed with caution. Remember that it is new, and we don't know what kind of tournament support or local game source support we're really going to see. So I hope you enjoy it. If you've been playing Keyforge, I'd love to hear what you think about the game in the comment section down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.